Have you ever pondered the plight of the Kuki people, a peace-loving group that has been thrust into the throes of conflict? Imagine a community, known for their tranquility, plunged into a triad of wars in the year 2024. Not by their own instigation, but by external influences and threats. The Kuki people, also recognized as the Chin in Myanmar, find themselves in a distressing reality. In Bangladesh, due to governmental failures to acknowledge their rights, they face conflict. In their own ancestral land of Manipur, they face persecution from terrorist groups. In Myanmar, they face the harsh reality of being treated as outsiders in their own nation. This year, 2024, has seen them wrestle with three distinct wars in three different countries: India, Myanmar, and Bangladesh. As we navigate through this provoking reality, it's crucial to highlight the resilience of the Kukis, their pursuit for justice, and their desire to live in peace like any other human beings. Let's delve into the first of these conflicts, the war in Myanmar, to understand the threats and influences that have disrupted their peace. In Myanmar, the Kukis, also known as the Chin, found themselves in the midst of a battle against the junta army in 2024. The Kukis, a peace-loving tribe, were thrust into a conflict not of their making, but a result of external influences and threats. The Kuki National Army, Burma or KNAB, and the Chin National Front or CNF were driven to arms. Their adversary was none other than the junta army, the very military force that should have been safeguarding their rights and freedoms. In this conflict, the Kukis were treated as outsiders. Their own homeland, where their customs and traditions have been preserved for generations, became a battleground. Their identity was constantly questioned, their rights disregarded, and their existence marginalized. Despite being citizens of Myanmar, they found themselves alienated and isolated. The government's refusal to acknowledge their rights and heritage added fuel to the fire, turning their world into a war zone. Instead of being recognized as the peaceful, industrious people they are, the Kukis were painted as rebels, their resistance framed as insurgency. The Kuki Chin, proud people with a rich cultural history, were forced to defend their ancestral lands from the very institution that was supposed to protect them. The junta army, showing little regard for the Kuki people's rights and freedoms, waged a war that was as unjust as it was brutal. The Kukis, however, did not stand down. They fought for their identity, their land, and their future. But their struggle was not confined to Myanmar alone. The year 2024 saw them embroiled in conflicts in other lands as well, a testament to their resilience and their unyielding spirit. This war in Myanmar, however, was not an isolated event. It was part of a series of struggles that the Kukis would face in 2024. Their fight for their rights and their existence was far from over. Their story of resilience, courage, and determination continued to unfold in other parts of the world. This war, however, was only the beginning of their struggles in 2024. The Kuki Chin found themselves in another conflict, this time in Bangladesh due to the government's failure to recognize their rights. This peaceful community, known as the Chin in Myanmar, were thrust into the heart of a political storm. Recognition of their rights became a bone of contention, a battle cry for their identity and existence in the Chittagong Hill Tracts, their ancestral territory. The year 2024 saw the Kuki Chin National Front and the Kuki Chin National Army pitted against the Bangladesh Army. But this wasn't a war they sought. They didn't yearn for the clash of arms, the smell of gunpowder, or the sight of their land soaked in blood. Instead, they craved recognition, a chance to live in peace within the contours of their homeland. The Kuki Chin National Front, an organization born out of the need to protect their rights, found itself on the front lines, fighting not just for territory, but for the survival of their people and culture. The Kuki Chin National Army, the military wing of the front, locked horns with the Bangladesh Army. Their territory in the Chittagong Hill Tracts became a battlefield, a stage where the drama of power, politics, and survival unfolded. The conflict was not just about land, it was about identity, about the right to exist as a distinct people, about the right to live in peace in one's own home. The Kukis, peace-loving by nature, were forced into a war they didn't want, a war imposed upon them by external influences and threats. Their peaceful existence was shattered, their lands tarnished with the stains of conflict. The year 2024 was a testament to their resilience, a narrative of their struggle, a chronicle of their battles for existence. And yet, the Kuki people's trials were not over, as they would soon face another conflict, this time in Manipur. In Manipur, the Kuki people were terrorized by the Maite-guns and other terrorist groups like UNLF and Arambai. In this year, 2024, the Kuki people of Manipur found themselves in the crosshairs of conflict. Their peaceful lives were shattered by the relentless attacks carried out by the Maite-guns and other notorious terrorist groups such as UNLF and Arambai. These groups, with a twisted sense of purpose, had one goal in mind: to instill fear and disrupt the tranquility of the Kuki community. These organizations displayed a flagrant disregard for basic human rights. They embarked on a campaign of terror, targeting the Kuki people, burning their homes and forcing them to flee their ancestral land. The Kukis, known for their peaceful ways, were caught in the midst of turmoil, their lives upended by forces beyond their control. Under the guise of darkness, these terror groups operated with impunity, leaving trails of destruction in their wake. The homes that the Kukis had built over generations, the lands they had tilled and toiled, were reduced to ashes. The Kukis were not just chased away from their homes, but from their history, their roots, and their identity. The Manipur government, unfortunately, did little to protect its citizens. The Kukis were left to fend for themselves, their pleas for justice echoing in the hollow corridors of power. The government's inaction only fueled the audacity of these terror groups, allowing them to continue their reign of terror unchallenged. These atrocities in Manipur were not isolated incidents. They were part of a larger pattern of violence and discrimination that the Kuki people faced in 2024. In Bangladesh and Myanmar, similar battles were being waged. The Kuki people were not just fighting for their homes, but for their fundamental right to live with dignity and peace. These three wars in 2024 have put the Kuki people's peaceful existence under severe threat. Their resilience and strength, however, have been a beacon of hope amid the chaos. As they continue to navigate these turbulent times, the Kukis remain steadfast in their pursuit of peace and justice. Their struggle is a testament to the indomitable human spirit. The Kuki people, despite their strife, remain resilient and determined to defend their lands and their people. In the face of adversity, the Kuki people stand tall. They are a testament to the strength of human spirit, undeterred in their resolve to protect their homeland and their community. However, they cannot fight this battle alone. It's crucial that international organizations and world leaders step in to provide support. The United Nations, an organization built upon the principles of peace, security, and human rights, has the capacity to bring about change. It's time that the plight of the Kuki people is brought to the forefront of their agenda. We urge the UN to investigate the atrocities committed against the Kukis and to enforce measures that safeguard them from further harm. The World Christian Organization, too, has a significant role to play. Its mission to promote love, peace, and unity aligns with the needs of the Kuki community. We call upon the WCO to use their influence to spread awareness about the Kuki people's struggle and to mobilize support for their cause. But the responsibility doesn't end with organizations. World leaders, those in positions of power, must not turn a blind eye to the injustices faced by the Kuki people. It's their duty to ensure that the rights of every individual, every community are respected and protected. We urge them to stand in solidarity with the Kuki people, to use their platforms to call for an end to the violence, and to work towards establishing peace in the regions affected by conflict. The Kuki people's struggle is not just their own. It's a struggle for human rights, for peace, for justice. It's a struggle that impacts us all. It's a struggle that calls for our collective action. The Kuki people's struggle for peace and justice is a testament to their strength and determination. They need our support, awareness, and action. And so, we must act for the Kuki people, for peace, for justice. In 2024, the Kuki people faced 3 wars in different countries: India, Myanmar, and Bangladesh. A year that should have held promise and growth instead brought conflict and strife. In Myanmar, known to the Kukis as Chin, They fought against an oppressive junta, valiantly defending their rights. Bangladesh saw the Kuki National Front and army clash with the national military, their rights disregarded by the government. And in Manipur, India, the Kukis faced violence from Meitei groups, driven from their ancestral lands. These peace-loving people found themselves in an environment that denied them the tranquility they yearned for. Their struggle goes beyond these three wars. It is a fight for recognition, for justice, and for the freedom to live as equals among the global community. It is a call to world organizations and leaders to step in and ensure the Kukis' survival. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to Zalingam Media to stay informed about the Kuki people's struggle and other important global issues.